Hey, it's Janelle and welcome to another reading vlog. So this week's vlog was meant to be dedicated to my best friend Kate, whom I've been friends with for 28 years now. It's her birthday in the month of October, so we thought, why don't I read books from her personal collection in honor of her birthday? So she was meant to be coming over to celebrate her birthday and to give me the books. Unfortunately, she got sick and so she wasn't able to give me her physical books. I did try to source as many as I could from my library, but Kate's collection would be very at home in my Get Real Weird with Her vlogs. Let's just say that. I did manage to find 5 though. So that's all they had. We'll have to save the rest of Kate's books for another vlog, but I will tell you about the ones I did manage to find. So the first book is Corazon by Jessica Salgado. This is a book of poetry. Most of the poems were about being a fat girl, turning into your mother, lovers, and self-love. I wasn't amazed by it, but I thought it was a pretty decent collection of poetry, so I enjoyed my time with it. The next book I picked up is called Necrophilia Variations, and this is by Supervert. So you might think with that title that it's about banging corpses. And while there are some short stories like that, most of these short stories are about the intermingling of sex and death. For instance, there are characters that want to be cremated so they can be sprinkled into the crotch of women's panties and have their clitorises as their tombstones. A lot of the stories were darkly funny and sometimes gross. I can see how some people would find them very erotic. They didn't titillate me, but I thought they were well written and it was very entertaining. I have to mention though, a massive trigger warning for 9/11, but I gave this collection of short stories a 3 out of 5 stars. The next book that I picked up is Want by Gillian Anderson. So this is a collection of anonymously submitted stories about sexual fantasies collated by Gillian Anderson, or Gillian, I think it's Gillian Anderson, isn't it? Now, I know what you guys are thinking. You're thinking, oh, so it's basically Literotica, the website, in book form. No, not quite. Whilst there are a few actual sex fantasy stories written in here, for instance, Bigfoot does make an appearance, a lot of this, most of this feels like someone's session with their psychologist. A lot of these fantasies are things like, I just want to know what it feels like to be loved. I fantasize about not being alone and someone holding me at night and accepting me as I am. Basically, a lot of these people just want someone to hold them and tell them that they love them. So if you're thinking, oh, it's all going to be naughty stories, it's not. I'm going to be honest. A lot of these stories were utterly depressing. There is a woman in here who's been in a sexless marriage for 13 years. Basically, her husband has sex with her twice a year for a few minutes, does not care about making her come. And yeah, she's therefore invented this very rich and intricate fantasy sex life, which I totally get. I don't know about other people, but concocting a full-on plot and narrative and character and world building for sex fantasies is definitely something that I have done. But so it was a delight to hear her stories about wizarding worlds or medieval Renaissance fairs or whatever that she was getting her rocks off to at the time. But yeah, a lot of this stuff did make me sad because a lot of these people just want some basic human affection and appreciation. I feel like too, there are a lot of straight women in here that just haven't realized that they might actually be a little bit gay. It's like, oh honey, maybe one day that'll click for you. Some were very, very short and to the point. Like for instance, this one made me laugh. I practice lucid dreaming. Every night I dream I have sex with the actor Pedro Pascal. They're Swiss, NA, heterosexual in a relationship, and yes. So each fantasy will have where they're from. So this is white, British. Well, let's find one that doesn't put NA. Okay, so here we go. Mixed race American, atheist. They earn between 29 and 49,000 pounds. Heterosexual, married or in a civil partnership, and yes, for children. So you've got that at the end of each one. And like I said, there were some that are very short and sweet and to the point. You know, that's it, deep raw dog anal. That's all this person's looking for. So I think if you've already read mainstream romance that contains smut, you'll be absolutely fine with this. This was really tame, to be honest. I was expecting a lot more raunch, a lot more dirtiness, a lot more taboo. Like I said, I know there's Bigfoot, but yeah, most of this was very light on the sexual fantasies. So I don't say I'm disappointed. It's just not what I was thinking it was going to be. And I didn't think that I would come out feeling sorry for a lot of these people rather than feeling turned on, but it is what it is, and I gave this a 3.5 stars. The next book I picked up is The Girl Who Swallowed Bees by Paul McDermott. So this is a picture book. It is not for children. It is about I think she was a 10-year-old girl who feels so bitter inside that she wants to kill herself, and she decides that she's going to kill herself by swallowing bees. So I can tell that maybe there are larger themes at play here. If you take it at face value, you've got a bitter young girl who doesn't want to live anymore. She goes and swallows bees, but instead of dying, the bees build a home, a hive, in her heart and fill it with honey, and the sweetness of their honey changes the way she looks at the world, and she now finds happiness and she now finds sweetness in life where before she'd only found bitterness. I liked it. I gave it a 4 stars. It is macabre, it is dark, but I thought it was delightful. But once again, do not read this to children. I'm going to move that out the way because that's giving me a weird underglow. The last book I read is also a picture book, and it is called The Miraculous Journey of Edwardtane by Kate DeCamillo and Bagram Ibatulini. Oh my God. So this is probably once again not a book that I would recommend to young children. It deals with heavy themes. It opens up with a rabbit named Edwardtane, and he belongs to a little girl. And in the beginning of the book, Edward is a little self-centered. He's a little bored of everything that goes on around him. He doesn't really care to get to know his owners and their life until one day the little girl goes on a ship and some mean bully boys grab Edward and throw him overboard. He sinks to the bottom of the ocean, and he's there for a very long time. And let's just say he goes through a lot of emotions while he is on the ocean floor, most of which he is just desperate to be reunited with the little girl and to go back to the life that he once had but took for granted. Edward, during a storm, is churned up from the ocean depths and thrown onto land, and he ends up going from person to person, home to home. I'm not going to tell you about all of the homes that he is briefly a part of because I think that's the magic of the book. All I have to say is that out of all of the human beings have Edward's company for a short while, Bryce, I'm trying not to cry because my makeup's done. Bryce is the most deserving in regards to being able to keep Edward as a companion. Just the whole storyline of Bryce is utterly heartbreaking. When I tell you that I was sobbing, I was sobbing. I was sobbing, and I messaged Kate. I'm like, fuck you, bitch. You did not prepare me for this. It is devastating. It's also heartwarming, and obviously throughout his experiences, Edward learns what it means to be loved and to love others and to have empathy for others and to appreciate those that are in your life. But yeah, the Bryce thing, I still lie awake at night and I want to rewrite the book so that Bryce can get what he deserves, basically. But the pictures are beautiful. This is a very powerful book. It is a 5 stars for me, 5 fucking stars. My girlfriend Kate, she's got a thing for depressing picture books about rabbits. Her other favorite book is The Velveteen Rabbit. It's like, you've got a certain taste, but this one is absolutely phenomenal and worth a read. Even if you are an adult, I think you will gain something from it, but prepare yourself for the waterworks. I don't know how you could not cry when reading this. Oh my God, like I said, I can't talk much about it because it's still very raw for me and I still think about it at night. But those were just a small smidgen of the books that Kate keeps in her collection. She's certainly got an eclectic, interesting mix, and you'll see the others in the future. We are still planning to go through with a proper Reading Kate's Collection vlog, but I wanted to do something to commemorate her birthday in the month of October. I am now going out for dinner with my sister. Once again, we're going somewhere fancy because that's what she likes. So I will leave you with footage of our adventure this evening. But until next time, stay well, Star Child, and happy birthday, beautiful Kate. Darling friend, love of my life. I love you so much, and I look forward to spending another 28 years together causing mischief. Golden Girls for life.
chocolate powder and cacao nib, and on top there is a dark chocolate, and finish off with mandarin caramel sauce.
Oh, I'm filming.